Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Bathrobe. You know, real, because I already been dealing with it all morning. I think I some Sharpay um face since the last time I'm not kidding. I Botox gift in the future. Botox gift. Not shame. I'm not if I right. Okay, how are you? Uh, is it Monday? Is it Tuesday in the green room? Oh, see what I mean? Okay, let me tell you what happened. This is real stuff, you guys. And one of these days coming up soon, I'm going to have a show where we can sound off about it because I was ill prepared. Ill prepared. Now, let me tell you what I'm talking about. You guys know I had an event 2 weekends ago. Great, great, great. Thanks to all the people that flew in from Texas, came from Ohio, the girls that came from New York and New Jersey. Thank you so much. We sold out. We had a great time. Thank you all so much for your support and love. Discover the author/speaker in you. Now, but that same weekend, we had two deaths in my family on the same day, two brothers. One was my sister's husband, who unfortunately, sadly enough, because of chronic pain and all kinds of mental health issues that come with chronic pain, took his own life. And we found him, my niece, when she went there to tell him that his other brother had died. So this past week was just crazy because it was 2 weekends in a row with lots of multiple trips to airports, all of them. And then we had to drive to Michigan. Then we had a funeral on Thursday, another funeral on Friday. And it's just, suicide is just, man, you think you know it. It's like when you can go to 100 uh, graduations or you can go to 100 weddings, but they just don't, it's not the same as when it's your own. So this is kind of the same. You hear about it, you read about it, but until it comes home to roost, man, oh my goodness. So anyway, prayers for the family, and especially for my sister Cheryl and her four children, their father, stepfather, and all the little ones who it's just so many layers of healing that's required, but that's another show and we're working on it. But welcome to the show today. Couple things. Yes, we are live streaming. We are live streaming across Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Android, Apple TV, Periscope, and of course, our home base, E360 TV Live. So, shout out to my man, uh, Joshua T. Berglund, who is on right before Bathroom Moments with Gratitude Unfiltered. So, if you have not gotten up early enough to check out Gratitude Unfiltered, please get up, set your alarm, check Joshua T. Berglund out. And I'm telling you, what better way to start your day than with some gratitude, right? Two new things this season 4 of Bathrobe Moments, of course, the new robe. But this, the bell of purpose. What is this? Everybody has an innate desire to somehow become a part of something greater than themselves. This is your opportunity right here. And if you don't like the feel or sound of this one, I have now added an additional. Both of these bells were supposed to be for me to control Brian when I was bedridden with my knee surgery. Um, you'd have thought neither one of them had any sound coming out of them because it didn't work, not once. I was like, sometimes I did them both. Did he come? No, I'm kidding. My husband took such good care of me. I didn't need to ring the bell. He was there before honey, wow. I could, wow. Did you, man, I'm telling you, the best ever. That's why he's my everything. Ding. But what do these bells actually represent? These bells represent when our guest says something that you can get behind or we can get behind, I'm going to ring that bell. Or one of you out there in TV land, you post a comment that really is like, wow, would you look at that? I'm going to not only read your comment, but I'm going to hit the bell so that our guests can know. And this the purpose of the bell is for all of us to get behind a certain mindset. It means that we're picking up what you're dropping off. So keep that in mind and we'll get started. Now, Yay! Today's a big day here on Bathroom Moments. Today, I'd like to welcome our newest sponsor of Bathroom Moments. Today's episode is powered by Symposium.us or the Symposium Us. This is where conversation becomes currency. Moolah. That's right. If you download the app today or simply check them out on the web at www.symposium.us, you will find out about all the great opportunities. And I know why are they here with me? Because we have been together for 3 years now. I have used everything they have. I've done many masterminds on Symposium. I've live streamed my events like the Power of We Symposium. I used Symposium.us as a vote capturing method for the next Impactor competition. I love the people over at Symposium.us. They love Bathroom Moments, and boy, did I lose it when they reached out a couple weeks ago and said, we would love to be a sponsor of Bathroom Moments. So here they are. So get over and check out our good friends at Symposium.us, where conversation becomes currency. When you go and you check out what they're doing, you will see that this is where you can convert your viewers and followers into pay-per-viewers. That's right. Get over and get paid for your message. Symposium.us. So today, I want to show you this real quick too. Um, Let me see. I'm going to add it right here so you can kind of see something. Stick with me. Just take a second. There it is. Okay. Take a look, everybody. I am going to blow it up. Bear with me. And then I got to get back over here quickly. Man, so quick. I don't know if you guys. Uh, oh, I'm back on screen. Hi, everybody. How are you? So let me get over here. Look at this. Okay. Who is this woman on the screen? Hold on. There she is. Um, mm, we won't go. No, we won't. No, we won't. We won't go. My funniest moment, my most memorable moment with Kim Jorgensen Gain was when her husband sent me a photo of her standing outside a politician who will remain nameless, his office, with a bevy of women surrounding her with her megaphone. And it is true representation, though. Yeah, we giggled, we teased, but she kept going. Um, it's. I've learned so much from this woman, Kim Jorgensen Gain, our guest today. And let me welcome all of you, Robert Brooker, Shelley Dale, and the rest of you out there. Thank you so much. Hi, Shelley. Oh, you know her. Yeah. Kim is just, I don't think I'd be doing what I'm doing today. Seriously, if it weren't for this woman. Um, Kim and her good friend, Beth Hur Lewis, convinced me to get on the stage and get past my fears a few years back, tell my story in a little thing called Listen to Your Mother. And it was really something because it changed my life. That night, that video actually went on to become my Goldcast video and opened up many doors and still does. And how do you thank somebody for something so monumental? Because she's not going to take credit for it anyway. But just know that, I've been watching her now, and she's always helped people get elected to office and stood behind people, did all that work that no one wants to do, that stuff that none of us ever sees because we just think it magically happens by little campaign elves. And now people are starting to say, Kim, it's time for you. So we're going to talk about that today. But I thought it'd be nice if we could take a look at her when she had her moment. Uh, Let me see. How can I make that happen? Her moment. Oh boy, this thing is doing weird stuff now. Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can make it work. Bear with me. Here we go. I'm gonna hit that. Make it bigger. And I'm gonna go here. Bear with me. Doggone it. Mm. Okay. Okay. She's gonna make me cry. Seriously. Kim, I didn't watch more than 5 seconds of it. I was like, okay, already. And I'm gonna get her in here right now because that's just too much. And that's the thing about this woman. Um, okay. Oh my goodness, wait a minute. This thing is not. Hold on, Kim. I'm getting you in here. I have a little technical difficulty happening, but I'm gonna find you on the screen. I'm gonna find you. Add to say. Oh, oh, good, good, good. Okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Bear with me. This is you. No, see, I said this before. You guys have no idea for being non-techie like I am. The stuff that I have to do back here. It's like I'm at NBC or something. I'm not kidding. Like right now, you can't see what I'm doing, but I have to like reconfigure all these layers that I messed up already before I let you see anything. Oh, oh, see, like that. You touch one wrong thing, you have like 19. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, okay. L- Let he who has not, whatever it is, thrown the stone. Kim, you know what I'm going to say, right? He who is without sin, right, cast the first stone. Okay, Kim, you are now, believe it or not, going across the airway in a million little pieces. Can you feel it? You are not moving, and you should pop up over here on the screen for the world to see any second now. But you're like Mike TV right now, still moving across the airwaves. Um, yeah, okay, coming. Don't worry, it does get there eventually. This broadband stuff. Hi, everybody over there. We're just waiting for our guests to fly across the sky. Hi, Misty Lane, and Stacy. How are you? And she's here. Yay, she's over here. So now any second she's gonna actually be on the screens. There's there you are. Uh, 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 uh. Welcome, Kim Jorgensen Gain.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Oh, I have two of those things I see behind you. Is that your new office or studio?
In
Excuse
my
me.
new studio, yes.
Now, what makes it a studio as opposed to just a regular old office?
I don't know. It's
It
supposed
sounds
to be
better.
a studio. I'm hoping that there's a lot of writing that happens in here.
Oh, don't we know it?
Yeah.
And also some you know, some guitar
Haha.
concertos, some
I
guitar
know.
concertos that'll be created. That's an inside joke, everybody. But Kim, I have so much to talk to you about today. Um, I got a list of things over here, and some of them are going to be touchy, some of them are going to be fun. But I want everyone to remember that we are here because we respect each other. This is a safe zone. Our motto on Bathrobe Moments is real people, real issues, real talk, illuminating conversations. And the only way that can happen is when there is a mutual respect between all. So please keep that in mind. You can ask Kim anything; she will answer if she can, or if it's something that you feel is a more private nature. Please reach out to her privately later and continue the dialogue. It's as simple as that. But Kim, since you're in your new studio, I noticed when I was doing my research that there is on a wall in there somewhere, you have the letters, separate letters, GROW. They're on top of a beautiful painting. So I want to know, and we want to know, what are you doing? What are you doing today to fertilize those four letters? What in your world is making the G, the R, the O, and the W actually grow?
Oh, always reading, a ton. Always listening. Listen is a big word, not only from Listen to Your Mother, but and thank you, Ann Emig, for starting us all on our paths. The founder and national director of Listen to Your Mother.
Yep.
Just always expanding my horizons and knowledge of the issues that matter most to me. Listening is really the bottom line. There's a new it's not brand new, but it's a new initiative that's I think will kind of cross the country this year, is Stand with Black Women. And that is it's a parenthood initiative. I know, right?
I'm kidding. I played one in a former life.
Yeah, like last Halloween, I think.
Right? Oh yeah, you saw her?
I did. She was fabulous.
She did. She won every award. People were so jealous. But anyway, go ahead, Kim.
So when we listen and when we listen to stories, I mean, that's what Listen to Your Mother was all about, right? That's what storytelling is all about, is when we understand people's personal stories, when we have that real talk, it humanizes people for us. So it's, we're less likely to ignore those people and to erase those people. So,
okay.
when
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I know what you're thinking. Typical man. I saw something. I was trying to find some horrible quotes regarding feminism to bring up, just to say, like, look how shitty people can be. But I did see one in there that said that something about how a woman stands back and waits 300 times or something to say something, where a man just keeps butting in or whatever. So right then and there, I was like, oh, okay. So I'm glad I didn't write that down. Okay. So there are a lot of things. And the reason we're talking about this, everybody, not only is Kim is a self-proclaimed card-carrying feminist. She has said that she doesn't pussyfoot around that. And so we're okay with that. But we're here today to learn more about what that actually means. Because I feel that, it gets a lot of bad press. And I know a lot of women who think from the feminist side of the aisle. And it's not that they're men haters. Right. They just want things to be understood and balanced. That's what I get from it. Yeah. I want to start this interview by something I found in your social media, Kim. You have a tattoo, and it says, "They tried to bury us." Can you explain that to us? What does that mean?
So it's an old Mexican proverb, and it's, "They tried to bury us, they didn't know we were seeds," is the other half. So we're bubbling up, and you can bury a seed, but it's going to grow, right?
So what's that mean to you?
To me, I grew up, I sang my first solo in church when I was 5 years old. I grew up, going to church very regularly. We sat next to my grandmother in the front pew. At least, when my dad wanted to play softball, we did anyways.
And of course, this was long before your famous solo and lead as Anna in The King and I. You knew I was going to get that in.
I know, of course.
And here's another thing, you guys. Kim sang on my album, so she really is a singer. I'm joking with her, but she really is a great singer. She actually sang on my album. Yes. Okay, so you started singing at 5, and keep going.
And I really, as a little girl, internalized the Bible stories, and which made me feel a lot of shame, quite frankly. And so a lot of it is in the misuse, I feel, of Christianity,
Mhm.
There are some beautiful things about Christianity, and there are some beautiful, wonderful Christians who understand what it is to be Christ-like.
Mhm.
But there are a lot of people who weaponize it also.
Mm.
So, and weaponize it really to control women. And so for me, it is, I believe in God. I'm a very spiritual person, but I really struggle with organized religion.
Yes, a lot of us do.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. And it's interesting that you bring that up because we already have introduced one of the no-nos to the table. Well, people always say you don't want to talk about two things,
Politics and religion.
and we're talking about them both. So
And probably sex too.
yeah, it's so, but and it's like, isn't it interesting that they say that about those two things,
Yeah,
and those are the two major ways that the populace is controlled
right. And silenced.
and
Very much
silenced.
silenced. Yeah.
So, okay.
You have
Here,
noticed I will not be silenced anymore.
no, you will not. And before we get to your future, what we're hearing, the grumblings underground, and then people are whispering and talking behind their hands about you running for some office in the state of Michigan eventually. We're
Mm,
going to get to that. I want to talk about some things I found on your Facebook page.
sure.
It was I saw 6 things this morning before I even got to the post I put in last night about you coming on the show. I was like, "Where'd all this come from?" And so you are really tenacious with keeping your content out there. And then so I'd spent about 40 minutes really going down through your page to get a feel. I did a deep dive, if you will, to see if it was all Elizabeth Warren, it wasn't all about this, and I found so many different things that I really didn't expect to find. And I
Hmm,
said, here we go. This is exactly why we're having this show.
yeah.
So, one of the things that I found I want us to talk about, because I know you have a lot to say about it, and I always feel like I'm doing my best, but it's one of those things I think we can all do better. And why is it so important? Where does this road lead to? And I speak of why is being counted in the 2020 census
Mm.
so important? Help explain that to everyone if you could.
Oh, sure. I'm not an expert on the census, but I do know that the census determines for the next decade where funds are allocated. So, what communities get funds that are needed for, all kinds of services that are provided through the government. So, if we're not accurately counting people, and that's everyone in your household needs to be counted. Um, those services are not going to be allocated appropriately.
Okay.
So that's kind of the gloss, the high level. I have not dug much deeper, but I
Yeah.
understand, and there was a lot of controversy, and of course, there's always that side that is stewing controversy in order to get people to just shut down. And that's what they're hoping, is that people will just ignore it and not answer it. And then so they will have more money to spend on defense, probably, right?
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm.
God knows we need that. Sarcasm. Hashtag sarcasm.
Yeah, I get it. I'm turning my light over. We need more light. Okay, go ahead.
So it's critical that every person in the household is counted. So the big controversy about it was the citizenship question. So the citizenship question was disallowed. So that's not a concern. So everybody in every household needs to be counted.
Now, don't they come around like
Yeah.
knocking on the door?
Um, there are census takers who are people who are paid to knock doors and complete the census. But I believe it's also mailed to households, and I think
Okay.
door knockers are just kind of a second tier.
Okay.
So
Now,
one
how
goes to the
is,
other.
is it tied into voting as well?
No,
So they
not,
don't
not
count.
to my knowledge.
Okay. So they're separate. Because
Yeah.
I saw something that said about stand up and be counted, stand up and vote or whatever, and they had it both
Yeah,
in the
so it's
same thing.
our votes, I think I think it's our count or our votes or something. I don't remember what that hashtag was that you're talking about, but
Okay.
it's the two ways that people need to be counted. That's number one, the census, number two, by voting.
So what if somebody doesn't get anything in the mail and no one knocks on their door? What can they do?
I think you can fill out the census online.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I would assume it would be uscensus.gov or 2020census.gov or something like that.
Okay.
I don't have that information right in front of me. I'm sorry.
But it is something that we all need to learn and understand better.
Yes.
So that and that's the point here today.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. So, okay, here's another thing I found on your page. There was a post, and this one I mean I passed it the first time, like when I was trying to reach you to get you on the show. I did the same thing. I was running through your Facebook yard, and I saw this. I was like, ew. And I kept going. And
Yeah.
this time I stopped again. I was like, okay, there's that gross ass thing. Let me see what it is. And it was a split screen of a woman on the right. She was the same woman, but on the right, she was on a toilet. On the left, she looked like she had on some type of a Depends or something. And it says the Oscars rejected a postpartum ad for being too graphic, and it's real life. And explain what was going on there and postpartum, because I couldn't tie that in with what I was seeing. And as a male, I'm just saying, I didn't understand the connection between the two. Why is she wearing this thing that looks like it depends? And how does that tie in? And why did they reject it and all that?
Sure. So, so the postpartum period of having a child, is very much the part that nobody wants to talk about. The fact that you can have an episiotomy, which is a surgical, let's see, widening of the opening, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
where babies come out. Um, but still, even with an episiotomy to make delivery easier, that episiotomy can rip,
Oh.
and women can be split open,
Oh.
hole to hole.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. I'll give us some. Okay. Here we
Yes.
go.
So, that's not something that's talked about. So that can happen, and you still have to take care of a newborn. So it is postpartum when a woman has a vaginal, or a person with a uterus has a vaginal delivery, can be, horrific, um, and painful, and between sleep deprivation, because especially if you're nursing, you're having to wake
So
up with a newborn every 2 hours. So
okay. So why the? I get it. Okay. But the Oscars, they were trying to get this thing out during the Oscars,
yeah,
and they rejected it.
yeah,
I can see people going, okay, that's a little bit much,
yeah,
and a little bit too much too soon,
yeah.
maybe. Maybe people aren't going to understand what they're looking at. But of course, we didn't get to see, the post didn't show, what the narrator or the voiceover was saying. But my question is this, because I got another one here. Um, how is that? You know what I mean? There's so many different things. Can they all come rushing in all at once? Or you know what I mean? It's like, why is it I don't know how to ask it.
Well, so let me just say this. The issue around that ad in particular was the way that women's bodies are policed, and the way that
Uh,
women's bodies are not, the way that breastfeeding, for instance,
mhm.
will tell a nursing mom, this is how she feeds her baby. And, they want her to go sit in the bathroom, sit on a toilet, and nurse your baby so that nobody
Okay.
will look at it. And,
Okay.
and it's because we police and we sexualize women's bodies. And that is not a sexual thing. Breastfeeding is not a sexual thing. It is a necessary This is the way people feed their babies. Some babies who are breastfed will not take a bottle, especially not from their mother. So it's, to say that it's gross or to
So what are you saying here? Are you saying that, you know, okay, we're in an airport, it should be a choice whether the mother wants to cover or
correct,
just plop it out there?
correct. That's up to her own modesty.
Well, what about children?
You explain to children that's how nature works. That's, maybe that child was breastfed. Maybe the mom tried to breastfeed, wanted to breastfeed, and couldn't. Maybe
What about horny teenage boys who just love looking at a big boob?
horny teenage boys need to be taught that that is not their property, that is not anything gross, that it is natural, and that also it is natural to be a horny teenage boy.
Mm.
But just that there are places for that and times for that, and that isn't one of them. That it isn't sexual, that it is a mother, or a person who can become pregnant, taking care of their infant and feeding them the way that God intended,
Mhm.
frankly.
Well, I really think that all these things lead to change eventually, or we hope that they would. For instance, just like how now we have unisex bathrooms with
Sure,
changing stations, or changing stations within the male bathroom.
right,
When once upon a time that was automatically something you expected to see in the women's bathroom,
right.
because you didn't expect the fathers to be taking their turn to do this. So I
Exactly.
get it. I get it.
And
Change.
like Scott, my husband was the best OB nurse I could have ever wished for. He was fantastic. He was a firefighter, paramedic, police officer, Eagle Scout. He delivered 17 babies. One of the things I fell in love with him for was because he loved babies. And he was wonderful when our son was born. I couldn't have done it without him. I had a terrible drug hangover. I had a cesarean with both of my kids, the two kids I gave birth to. I'm mothering four.
Mhm.
Um, that's all includes stepdaughter and nephew. But my two kids that I gave birth to, my daughter when I was 20, all by myself, and then my son when I was 36. Years later with my husband, and it was a wonderful experience. But I was like, I could barely hold him up after the surgery. And in fact, my husband had to physically pump me to get me started so that he
Well,
feed.
we get that part. That's how you got
Okay,
the baby.
so that's so okay. That's the reality. No, with a little machine, not.
Oh, you mean the milk.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
No, you're not. This
So
this is what you are.
you're like, well, you said it. I'm just saying. Um,
But that's
so
reality.
there is, and there's a lot of, and that's the thing. See, it takes conversation to
Yeah.
understand, and I get that. Let's change gears here for a moment. Now, this isn't something I found on your page, but it's something I found when I was doing research about feminism, and I saw a quote from a woman. I don't remember her name. I don't think she was really anybody famous or anything, but she said, "I am considered a feminazi."
Hmm.
Have you ever heard that term?
Oh, sure I have.
Oh, okay. And she says, I am not sexist against men.
Correct.
Um, perfect feminism is too, what was the word? Too something of men. And I remember the word meant too lenient or something on men, that perfect feminism. Um, and so tell me what that is. I had never seen that. Feminazi.
I don't know. I haven't seen. Well, okay. So feminazi is a radical feminist, basically.
Radical, like a zealot.
Sure. Um, but
So
and
do they hurt your cause?
sorry.
Does that mindset hurt your cause as an, I don't know I don't want to say normal feminist, but I mean as a feminist,
Yeah.
a card carrying feminist, does that ultra feminazi mentality, does it work against what you guys are trying to accomplish?
Well, here's the thing. Some people think I'm a feminazi.
No.
Yes.
And why would that be?
And I am, I am a feminist, a mother feminist, hashtag mother feminist. I am a mother feminist, and that is that I mothered a generation of girls, and now I'm mothering a generation of boys, and I understand feminism more now that I'm mothering boys than I ever understood feminism before. Feminism means equality. Feminism means, that, equal pay and equal representation, which we do not have. There are far fewer women in Congress representing us. So we're supposed to have a representative government. We do not have a representative government. So, yet.
Getting there.
So that's what feminist means. Is feminist isn't about bringing men down. It's about bringing women up to meet men so that there's equal representation, equal pay. Um,
Let me ask you this. Do you think the world, or do you let's scale it down. Do you think the country, the United States of America, would be more open and accepting of a gay president before they would be more open and accepting of a female president?
I do, actually.
And why?
Um, the it's interesting to see, Pete Buttigieg, if he were elected, would be our first openly gay president. I
Mhm.
like how you use the word open. Um,
Yes.
and Pete Buttigieg happens to be a proximity candidate for us. He's
Right.
45 minutes from Berrien County.
Right.
Well,
Michigan, for
yeah,
those who are wondering where that is.
right, right. So Pete Buttigieg, his second term after coming out, was reelected with 80% of the vote in Indiana,
Of all places.
of all places. Indiana being, extremely conservative. John Hoadley is running against Fred Upton in Michigan's 6th district. John Hoadley is an out, gay individual. And he has been in state office. He's term limited. So he's been a state rep for the Kalamazoo area in Michigan, and he's term limited now. Pardon me.
Hmm.
So he's running against Fred Upton.
Well, I knew you'd start choking soon as that name started rolling off your tongue. But anyway, yes,
There's
there's that picture.
about,
Yes, okay, and that is Fred Upton's office. We can
yeah,
say that now.
yes.
So,
So hashtag retire Upton 2020.
yes,
That's what John Hoadley is working on doing, and he has got a very good chance. Fred Upton lost St. Joe, the city of St. Joe, which is his hometown.
did
Last
he really?
year. He did.
Wow.
He
So
did.
I remember when I lived there, he used to stand out on the corner and wave right by your dad's office across the street. Does he still do that?
Yeah, that happens. It does.
Shaking my head.
I know.
Okay, okay. Um, let's switch gears because I got two more things I want to cover, and we got about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Another thing I did find on your page, and it's a great topic, and I was very surprised, pleasantly, to find this on your page. But there was a post on there that spoke to um, supporting trans kids.
Yeah.
And I just was like, wow, she's got some of everything. And when you put when you piece them all together, they all speak to some form of struggle,
Yeah.
some whispered voice that is trying to be heard in
Yeah.
the midst of a chaotic, loud din. And those are kind of the same words, loud and din, but you get it.
Yeah.
And so I found that very interesting. So how do you go about deciding what goes on your page? What I mean, do you pick things that just mean something to you, or do you sometimes have to pick things? And I mean, this is the future political person I'm
Mhm,
speaking to.
mhm.
Do you have to pick things that you feel sometimes are for the greater good? And do you ever see things that you feel okay? I mean, because you can't be you can't be behind everything.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? But as someone running for
Mm.
office, you have to be open in a
Yeah.
way that, and I don't know how you do it. And then we want to, after that, I got two things I want to get to. I want to get to the uh rape and how that may have you know, we know your story is out there and about a rape early in life and how that may have shaped your feminist views,
Mhm.
if at all. And then also, because I'm getting it out so you can take the ball and run, so I don't have to butt in anymore. And then the other thing is, um what is it? The other thing is, oh Lord, senior moment, here we go. Ring the bell.
Well,
Come back into the light, Carol Ann.
right. Yeah. Let me address the trans kids thing real quick.
Okay, do that.
Because
What's coming up?
because at the top of your show, you talked about your uncle committing suicide.
My brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law, excuse me.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And suicide is a topic that is very important to me. I was suicidal as a young single mom.
Oh, wow.
That's what my first Listen to Your Mother video was about. It's called What If I'd Said Just Drive?
Oh, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, okay.
And so the issue there is that the LGBT community is at high risk for suicide.
Mhm.
So, that's something that is very important to me. And trans kids, particularly, trans Black women are at the highest risk of being raped and murdered.
I
Um,
didn't know that.
yeah, so it's the I guess it all kind of the bottom line is, and this goes to the rape too. Twice I was sexually assaulted. So the bottom line really is um, all the things that we are conditioned and nurtured not to talk about. That the things that we're told to keep silent, don't let
Mhm.
anybody know.
Mhm.
When I was raped the first time in high school, 2 weeks before my 16th birthday on the 4th of July.
My birthday.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
I know, me too.
um,
Wow.
there was who I was before that happened,
Mhm.
and before my parents divorced. I was a freshman in high school when my parents divorced, and
Mhm.
who I was after that happened. And it shakes you to your core. It changes everything about who you become. I stopped believing in dreams. I stopped believing, I was after The King and I, um,
Anna.
Anna, uh,
Yes.
I had dreams of going to Juilliard and singing on Broadway. And, between my parents' divorce and chances are I would not have been sexually assaulted had my parents not gotten divorced at that critical time in my life. When even if your family isn't perfect,
Mhm.
that is your foundation. And when your foundation crumbles at that critical time in your life, when you're an adolescent, it really makes it hard to grow forward. So that's what the grow is about,
Mhm.
is I'm always trying to grow forward. I'm always trying to learn more. I'm always trying to, be open to people's stories. And here's the thing. When we look at the narrative that is out there about issues that have become politicized. Our existence is political, Loren. Your existence is political as a gay Black man who wanted to get married. It became
Right.
legal for you to get married. For a long time, it was not. I
Yes.
know. And we love Brian.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, and
I
you're
was
right.
there when it was
And you're right.
a beautiful day. My
Yep.
existence is political. My daughter's existence is political. My son's existence is political. But when we listen to the other side of that narrative, particularly the what about the babies one, those are not personal narratives. Those are not people's personal stories. This is an ideological belief that they hold that is theirs, not mine. And it has to, that's why we need personal narrative. That's why we need to humanize the stories about why issues that have been politicized that have no business being in the political realm. We have to talk about those things. And suicide is one, women's reproductive choice is another. And choice is a very privileged word. I have choice, but there are a lot of people who do not have choice because they don't have proximity, they don't have access, they don't have funds, they don't have transportation, they can't get off work, a host of reasons.
Sure. As we round this final lap, and I it came back, by the way, so um I wondered, and for those of you who have come in since the top of the hour, we're here today with Kim Jorgensen Gain. She's a feminist. She is a mother. She is a daughter. She is a lot of things to a lot of people. And her community and supporters have been pushing and pushing and pushing to convince Kim to stop just supporting people who are running for office and helping with their campaigns and whatnot, which she's done for quite a while, but now to run herself. So now we're rounding that last lap of today's interview, and I wanted to ask you, what is it? Why is it? I've watched you, and a lot of this isn't anything new, Kim, where people are saying, pushing you, pushing you. Um, is there such a thing? And I mean, yes, we have great examples, but from where you sit, why is it so hard for people to wrap their minds around the possibility of someone becoming a good politician? And I mean, seriously, because and then I want you to go into this thing, which is one of the main reasons I asked you to come on today, was the bullying thing on your page where some guy, oh my God, we jumped up out of our seats here at the house. Brian came running downstairs. Have you seen this? And this guy, right. And then I was like, oh my God. But you handled it with such grace. And I don't think I could have. No, I know I couldn't have, because this person spoke to you in a just ugh.
Yeah.
And then talked about your kids. Like
Yeah.
he knew about your kids. So, you can talk about that. So let those two go together and take us completely out here. We have about
Very much
6 minutes.
Okay. Because that there are a lot of people who are really invested in silencing women, especially, but the LGBT community also, that are really invested in keeping white women and Black women apart, for instance. And that silencing is often through, things like sexual violence, threats of, things like sexual violence. The bullying, the online bullying, that's where I thought you were going earlier with the postpartum commercial, but the online.
Is that what it was about?
No.
Oh, okay.
They're not related to my knowledge, but it was, that other messenger, that other inbox that you never want to look at.
Yeah.
Well, I was supposed to be doing a coaching call, and the guy didn't have an iPhone. So, we were okay. Well, we can connect through Messenger. And so I had to go look in that other email box, and I found that. And it may have actually been the same guy. I wouldn't at all be surprised, honestly, because I think he was messing with me, because it didn't end up being a real coaching call, I feel like. But that's what makes it so hard to decide, whether or not to run for office. Because that kind of, people think they own you. People think that you are then public property, and you will become a target. And this, this area in particular, there has been, because of Upton's reign for 34 years, by November, I think it will be, the Republican machine, and there are some wonderful people who identify as Republicans. I am not saying that all Republicans are bad by any stretch of the imagination. I'm only using this as a, the machine that gets people elected, the party, the local party, there's the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. We are a two-party system currently. So the Republican machine that has been well established for over 3 decades while Fred Upton has been in office has been just running along, and it is very established here. The Democratic machine and getting Democratic candidates elected, we've had to really invent that because it just kind of didn't exist for a long time. It did, very much so. There were wonderful people who were looking at it.
So Kim, does that scare you?
The
you know
idea
what I'm saying?
of putting my family, I considered running this year in 2020. And I eliminated that as a possibility because my boys are still in high school. And what you saw, somebody saying you're,
right,
poor boys to have you as a mother or whatever.
Right.
The idea of, I know that my son particularly would take it very, very personally. I don't want that to be a big factor in his life when he's just trying to graduate from high school and he's just trying to figure out what's next for him. That wouldn't be fair to my son.
Right.
Particularly, or to my nephew. My nephew, he moved in with us when he was 12 years old. We moved him in with us. We took guardianship of him. And, he's been behind the curve already. He doesn't need, to have this overshadowing his senior year. So, I am not decided 100%.
Yeah.
If I can find someone who is a better candidate than I am, then, I would get behind that person. If someone primaries me and there's a primary and I don't win, I would get behind that person. When I ran for city commission, I was the person who fell off the ballot during the primary. I supported 2 progressive women candidates and got them elected, helped get them elected to the city commission. And then we later appointed a woman of color in St. Joseph, Michigan, to the city commission. And she was reelected with the highest number of votes. Lynn Todman was. So it's, the things that my community seems to be ready for and open to. We are in a very, very segregated, weirdly, oddly Pleasantville-esque, segregated community. And that's not where I feel like my community wants to be whole. I feel like that's the bottom line. And that we tend to think in silos. We tend to think, as Benton Harbor is one thing and St. Joe is another thing, when in my view, we need to look at our region as a whole and stop thinking in those silos and lift up our entire region. And if we don't start with the people, who are currently in the lowest bracket of our region, we can't lift the rest of us up if we don't lift them up, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's why, you will tend to find that my foundation really is lifting up the least of us and giving everyone a chance and making sure that everyone has the chance to grow and the chance to succeed and the chance for prosperity. And that's really, women deciding for themselves when and whether to have children is the single most critical path to prosperity, to their economic justice, economic success, and to their children's. So,
well, it makes perfect sense to me. Let's see some love on the screen. Oh, your husband popped in. Hi, Scott.
Hi, honey.
And Karen, how are you from New Jersey? Nancy, how are you? And all the rest of you. I want to thank you so much, Kim, for coming in today and clearing up some things and also dropping off some things to give all of us some place to continue growing. by having conversation and dialogue and just entertaining ideas that we might not have if we hadn't come together and shared our own personal perspectives. So that's what it's all about. Um,
Thank
keep
you.
us in line, keep us in the loop as far as what's going on with you. You have an open invitation to come back to Bathroom Moments anytime you choose.
Thank
Just
you.
let us know. And thank you again so much. Where can people go if they want to find out more about you or continue this conversation?
So kimjorgensengain.com. It's kind of in flux, but that's probably the easiest place. LinkedIn, Twitter at Kim Gain Possible, GANE. Um, let's see. Same on Instagram. Although I have been on Instagram, but I haven't used it well, so I'm working
Okay.
on that. I also will have a new initiative coming soon, a political interest group that I am starting about
Okay.
what my bio said about being a member of the unpaid labor of motherhood. I've been a mom for 33 years. So for the majority of the last 2 decades of that,
Hmm.
it has been as an unpaid,
Right.
caretaker, basically.
Okay.
And
Well, well, do us a favor and drop in if you wouldn't mind after we release you here. After you've cleared the building, go over to one of the kiosks you'll see, and you can take a gift bag if you'd like. They're there for that purpose. But drop in all of your connectors you've just mentioned so that people can find you.
okay,
You have a lot to say, and I believe people out there have a lot to say in return. So let's keep talking, won't we? Shall we? Let's do that. Listen, Kim, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful day. Have a beautiful rest of your day
you
and keep
too.
doing what you're doing, changing this world one person at a time.
Take care.
Thank you. You as well. So, everybody, um, thank you to Kim for coming by today. And what did I just do? Lord have mercy. I'm gonna just leave you in here, Kim. Shall I? I'm like, okay, there we go. Okay. Listen, you guys, have a wonderful day. We're out of time. I'll see you here tomorrow where David Gold will be joining us from Canada. Totally different kind of show, but that's what we're all about. I'm Lauren Michaels Harris. Have a wonderful day. God bless you. Get out there, be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. And remember, get out and just love up on at least one person other than yourself. But first, love yourself. You cannot do for anyone else what you're not willing to do for yourself. We'll see you back here tomorrow, right out front on the front porch of Bathrobe Moments. Bye.